Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Drifting on Purpose, where we explore the ebb and flow of the uncertainties of life and how to authentically navigate them. We are your hosts. I'm Addie.
And I'm Azriel. And our mission is to cultivate a community of deep thinkers looking to take the path less traveled to uncover their true selves.
Topics range from authenticity, overcoming challenges, and finding your purpose, and so much more.
We can't wait to share our conversations, our community, and our stories with you. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow along. Thanks for being here. Your support is really appreciated.
On today's episode, we're excited to launch a mini bonus episode with content that we extracted from our last episode. So this is never before heard. It's just extra content that we had because we just had such a great time talking about planning and living your authentic life and just finding your purpose. And so today's episode, we're calling it episode 6.5, is all about instilling habits to create a more purposeful path forward. So a lot of times, when we hear about finding your purpose, some people kind of clam up, right? Because there's a lot of pressure when it comes to finding what your actual purpose is. And so today we sort of share our tips and tricks on ways that you can move forward while also discovering and uncovering different habits, different likes, and different things that fuel your fire from within. I'm going to challenge you. There's two questions I have. My first question is, for our listeners out there who maybe don't necessarily know what their person or their purpose or their passion is, maybe they're trying to figure that out. What are some tools they can use to carve out some times of their day to maybe discover what that is?
Well, it would be, for me, that would just be like talking about habits, right?
Mm-hmm.
Installing a habit, right? To install a habit, you have to make it less variable. You can't say, I want to start doing this. Let's talk about, let's say meditation or finding your purpose. I want to do this thing. Well, I'm going to fit it in at some point during my day because it's something I desire. I do it. I did it today when I woke up, and then I did it after lunch, and then next time I did it after a bedtime, right? And it's just kind of loosey-goosey versus saying, I'm going to do it every day at this one time, no matter what.
Okay.
There's a difference of being able to have that habit be installed, right? Because you know when you're going to do it. There's less variability. And it just makes it easier. I don't have to decide later, if I feel like it or not now.
Right. Yeah.
Because when you start, go ahead.
No, yeah, thank you for that. And, I'll be frank is I'm still trying to figure out what my passion and my purpose is. And I know it kind of changes through my experiences and everything like that. And so there are certain things I know about myself. I don't know if I necessarily call them like my passion or my purpose. Like I know that I need movement in my life. So I play tennis or I make sure that I'm going to the gym or taking a walk outside. Like I know that those are things that I need in my life to feel my very best. I know that I want to give more back to the communities, which is why we're doing this podcast, and I'm trying to volunteer more of my time. But when it comes to standing tall and be like, this is who I am, this is my passion, this is my purpose, I don't necessarily know if I have that figured out yet. So
Deep.
yeah.
Deep. And what I will say is this, there's two purposes we all have, we all share. There's one universal purpose that we all share as human beings. This universal purpose. So if you're concerned about purpose in your life, right? And just know this, your purpose is to be the best you possible. Is to be the best version of you and let your light shine.
Love that.
What you're feeling on your heart and what you want to express and what you're passionate about it is true and good. Don't deny it. Let it be, let it shine.
I love that.
So the second thing is, so there's a universal purpose, then there's the unique purpose, right? So that's everyone's responsibility is to be the best versions of us because we can, that's really important. The second is, what's my unique thing? My unique purpose, which would be, what what roles have I been given right now in life?
Yeah.
Because roles change throughout life. And what responsibilities have I been given right
Mhm.
now? And how do I honor those things? Maybe, I didn't think my purpose was to be a father,
Yeah.
but sorry, I am.
Yeah.
Can't
Yeah.
change that. I am a father.
Right.
So,
And your purpose as a father will change as they get older.
mhm, in the
Mhm.
way the way you teach them. So that's one role I have. Another role is I'm a leader, I facilitate things, and I want to talk to creatives. I want to light them up and I want to inspire them to be the best version of themselves, right? But that's something that I spent time on doing. I literally spent time searching that. I scheduled a weekly meeting with my buddy
Mhm.
in California, and we would schedule time after work hours, and we would do work, and it was hard, but I had an accountability partner, and he was encouraging, and I was encouraging him. So it was very intentional,
Yeah.
but it was structured, it
Mhm.
was planned, it was thought out, and there was a reason and emphasis for that.
I love that. So is it mostly like, okay, even if you don't know what direction you want to take, still adding that structure. So maybe it's a block of time where you call it like your discovery phase. And within those few hours, you just do what feels right for you at that moment. Maybe you journal, maybe you go outside, maybe you volunteer, maybe you just sit and think, so that like eventually over time, you start to feel like maybe there's a little bit of a direction there. And then because you've already implemented structure, it'll be easier to shift into that sort of block scheduling or however you want to schedule going forward because you've already implemented that design into your daily life.
Yeah, I like that. So you're saying, "Oh, I don't know really what I want to do."
Hmm.
So, but if I can create a schedule and I can
Hmm.
create like a time when I focus on what I want to do,
Yeah.
because I want that in my life, it helped me feel fulfilled, more confident, so on and so forth, then yeah, start figuring out during a certain time that works best for you and you're at your best. And then once you figure that out, keep that same schedule, don't stop it and just work on that thing.
Yeah, because this past summer, just looking back, I was going through some hard times and I wanted something to sort of take me out of my feelings and put my feelings into something. So I did guitar lessons, I did some art classes,
Amazing.
obviously played tennis, and just what I learned is that the things that I guess are driving me forward, they're still in my life. So I love to play guitar, I love to sing, but I just couldn't fit it into my everyday life for it to work for me at that time. But with tennis, like anytime there's available, I'm like, yes, I want to play. And so maybe it's just taking that time to figure it out and then see what kind of naturally sticks and see what things like they could still be hobbies and stuff like that, but maybe they just fall to the wayside. And maybe that's something you don't emphasize as much in terms of like moving yourself forward.
Sure. That's like a natural ebb and flow of a way to figure out a schedule and things you want to do. But
Yeah.
I would also say sometimes we let things fall to the wayside that are important to us,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and we
Mm-hmm.
don't make priorities
Mm-hmm.
because we don't make them priorities.
Right. Yeah.
So if you want to do guitar more, maybe, like this is always the easy answer. Wake up an hour earlier,
Yeah.
right? Everyone always says,
Uh-huh.
well, just wake up, or what time are you waking up? And
Yeah.
yeah, I personally, my masterpiece day would be to go to bed by 10 every night and then wake up at 6 every day, but that doesn't happen. So I get to bed around 10-ish, probably don't fall asleep till 10:30, 10:45, maybe 11, because whatever.
Yeah.
Wake up at 7, you know
Hmm.
what I mean? Um, and I'm not having that biggest window that I want to have in the mornings.
Yeah.
So that's just real life.
Yeah.
But if you can set up your timing where you're like, well, I can go to bed earlier because I can do that and wake up earlier, the morning hours are magic.
Yeah.
Coming from someone who claimed as a night owl, I was like, I can only do my best, most creative work after everyone goes to bed and it's 3 o'clock in the morning and nothing's happening in the world. Now I feel connected to all this stuff. But
Hmm.
realizing actually I was not as productive. I was exhausted. I wasn't doing my best work. When I
Yeah.
flipped it to doing the mornings, I could do as much work in an hour that I did within 3 hours as my nighttime efforts.
That's amazing. And you mentioned Masterpiece Day. Tell us a little bit more about this concept.
Sure, sure. So everyone wants a masterpiece life, this ultimate fantasy fulfilled life, right? Become rich, become famous, and live this lifestyle and have everything be perfect and wonderful.
Mhm.
Well, that's great. I'm not saying there's anything bad about that at all. I think if you want that and you desire those things, please go after them with ferocity and passion. Yes, please. However, it's like, okay, if you want a masterpiece day and you want to live this way, then guess what? You have to have a masterpiece day.
Mhm.
You need to then have a masterpiece day. Every day is one piece of your masterpiece life, right? So then
Mhm.
do all the things that are important to you that you want. I want to be healthier. I want to
Mhm.
have more energy. I want to sleep more. I want to get in this hobby. I want to be part of this group. I want to be more productive at work. I have
Mhm.
all these, I want to do these things. Well, how do you do that today?
Yeah.
That's overwhelming. I just named
Mhm.
a lot of things. So overwhelming. So the idea is don't just do all of them, pick a couple and start very, very small,
Yeah.
like super tiny. Atomic Habits
Yeah.
talks about
Mhm.
1%. How can I do 1% of my goal today?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's the objective here that we're talking about. You can have everything you want, but today let's make 1% progress.
Yeah. I love that. And how, if you want to implement new habits, new experiences in your life, is there an ideal number to like start with? Because if somebody wants to overhaul their entire life, that's got to be extremely like overwhelming. And I know we were just talking about atomic habits and the 1%, but is there an ideal number of new hobbies or new activities or tasks to start focusing on so that you don't become overwhelmed and like slip back into old habits?
Yeah, one.
One.
That would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
You could try more if you feel like you have the bandwidth and it's easy.
Yeah.
Installing habits is all about making it easy for yourself.
Yeah.
Making it so small it's like laughable,
Mm-hmm.
that it's so easy. So let's talk about meditation, right?
Yeah.
So many people see the benefits of meditation and everyone talks about it. So like I
Mm-hmm.
want to try it out. Well, first find a time of day that works for you and stick to that time of day. And
Mm-hmm.
then maybe stack it on something else.
Yeah.
Like when you have your cup of coffee or whatever, your cup of morning beverage,
Yeah.
maybe you practice mindfulness and you're literally just sitting there mindfully holding the cup for a minute,
Yeah.
or you take one breath while you drink something. Sensei Victoria Whitfield says you could practice mindfulness while you're brushing your teeth. She clenches her butt cheeks. So maybe you're brushing your teeth, clench your butt cheeks, and think about your
Yeah.
body and practice how it feels. That's a gateway to start
Yes.
practicing mindfulness and start practicing, meditation. So stacking habits on habits that are already installed and running on autopilot is
Right.
something that's really helpful as well to
I
do.
love that. Yeah, I mean, that makes so much sense. And it is attainable. And I think it is easy for people to grasp that concept that, like, in order to improve or install a habit, it really doesn't take that much effort per day. But over a span of time, you'll start to see that progress. So I think that's amazing. The other question I had for you before I forget
Yeah.
is speaking of planning, and not always having control of your schedule of your day. I know many of our listeners have probably worked with a coworker that may be toxic and cross boundaries, or maybe there's a boss or
Mm.
co-parenting with, a really tricky partner.
What's that like?
Yeah, well, that can be another episode. But you have your day, you have your well-intended schedule, and then you have sort of these people that are coming in that maybe cross those boundaries. And so, what is your advice for people who are stuck in those? Because I know what I do, especially is like if I'm getting, a nasty text message from, um, my ex-partner or whatever, and it kind of throws me off, right? I feel like my
Yeah.
boundaries kind of crumble, and then it's like, I wasn't even thinking about that. And now it's like my whole day seems to be disheveled based on like a request, or maybe
Mhm.
somebody asked me about a job, or they want to see a house like after my intended hours. So how do you get back into sticking with that schedule,
Yeah.
but also being cognizant enough is like, okay, well, as a realtor, I have to make money.
Yeah.
And as a co-parent, like, I want my child to have relationships with my ex.
Yeah. Those are big questions.
Mhm.
Um, and so I start this way. So this idea of there's a river. Think about a river, and on the one bank there is planning and structure, and on the other there is organic and freedom and flowy. If I
Mhm.
flood this structure side too much, then what happens? I'm just rigid and I'm strict. And
Mhm.
if I flow the other bank, it becomes disorder. It
Yeah.
becomes chaos. And so, in order to answer your question, it's like we need a nice combination of both.
Mhm.
We need to
Mhm.
have that virtuous mean, as they talk about. And so, what I would recommend is saying, well, I need structure
Mhm.
to have meditation and my energy and my maybe visualization or journaling or something that I'm talking to myself. So I am prepared when I meet with some aggressive nature, or I'm meeting with a triggering event from a person, right? That
Mhm.
I have done my things. I've worked out, I've meditated, I've journaled, and I've talked to myself to tell me who I am today and what I represent and what I want today to be. Because if
Mhm.
you have done that
Yeah.
and then someone says something to you, you're more inclined to be like, that's about them. That has
Yep.
nothing to do with me,
Yeah.
actually. But if I haven't done those things, I'm screaming right back instantly.
Yeah.
I'm getting crazy in front of my kids, and that's not okay. That's not what I want to represent in my life. I want
Right.
to represent calm, confidence, and love. And
Mhm.
regardless of what someone else is doing, I want to be able to receive them in love and have a boundary at, arm's length. But
Yeah. Are you familiar with Mel Robins' Let Them theory?
no, tell me,
Okay. So
please.
she's all about, just if somebody wants to be a jerk, or if somebody wants to cross your boundaries, well, maybe not crossing your boundaries, but if they, it's basically relinquishing control. So if somebody doesn't want to invite you to dinner, let them. Like, again, it's a reflection of them. It's not a reflection of you. And sort of
Mhm.
when you sort of try to take that control away of how somebody should treat you, and just let them be who they want to be, and realize that like that is them, it kind of takes away some of that angst and some of that initial anger, sort of that fight or flight mode. And so she kind of goes into that and just says, let them, just
Mhm.
let them be. And again, that kind of comes back to that control, and allowing that control and allowing the river to ebb and flow, so
Mhm.
that you're not so strict or you're not so loosey goosey, but you're kind of sticking in your lane. You've got
Mhm.
your buffers on your side, and you're just going down, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And it's if you have structure in place though, where you have had the time to hear Mel Robbins talk to you.
Hmm.
You put
Hmm.
Mel Robbins in your ear as your mentor, as your guide, digital, virtual guide,
Yeah.
and you're allowing that wisdom to come in and soak in before facing the world. That's different, and you're having those habits in place to say,
Hmm.
this is who I want to be.
Hmm.
Um, and then there's also even more structure to say, well, these are my work boundaries.
Yeah.
I'm not working after 9 p.m.
Hmm. Yeah.
But actually I'm home alone. Lucy's with her dad. I'm up anyway. I'm watching something, whatever. I can text right now. Cool. Okay, that's flowing. That's
Yeah.
being more organic and allowing it to be. But I
Yeah.
would say it's better for you to have structure and say, I'm done at 9 p.m. And I tell my team, I'm done at 9 p.m. I
Yeah.
start at this time in the morning and I end at this time at night. This is
Yeah.
who I am. This is what I do.
Yeah.
Right? That's better to know. But if you don't do that and you do something else, some of the times that's okay. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you said, it's not like etched in stone, excuse me. Thanks so much for catching us on another episode of Drifting on Purpose. This one was super fun to do and be able to offer just a little extra bonus, episode 6.5. And always just remember to be sure to like, subscribe, and comment so we can continue to cultivate a community of deep thinkers. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week.